everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is just going to be a really fun day of all things Bravo from Real Housewives of Miami, Beverly Hills, maybe some pump rules, what's going on with Andy Cohen, and more. So, before we dive in, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. So, with that, let's kick off with Real Housewives of Miami. Girl, Larsa Pippen, you in danger, girl. So Larsa and her ex, Scottie Pippen, are being sued amid stalking and harassment claims from his alleged former lover. Let's dive into that, and then we will get into doing a recap of the reunion. So, this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Scottie Pippen and his ex wife, Larsa Pippen, are being sued amid allegations he stalked and harassed his former lover. Larsa, a star of Bravo's Real Housewives of Miami, filed for divorce in 2018. She's now in an on again, off again relationship with the son of Scottie's former teammate, Michael Jordan. According to page 6, Chevette Valentine, an alleged ex-lover of Scottie, filed a suit against the basketball player and his ex-wife Larsa, and she claimed he stalked and harassed her. Chevette also alleged that Scottie and his brother Carl T. Pippen, Larsa, and the Chicago Bulls created suffering for her. She claimed the relationship was on and off from 1987 to 1993 and severed because he and Carl allegedly had sex with her without her consent. You know what I'm saying? The lawsuit was filed in the Circuit Court of Cook County, Illinois. Allegedly, the assault led to her late son, Devontae Pippen's birth. So this is the thing. If she has a son by him, how is she his alleged ex-lover? Was it in vitro? Was it divine intervention? If she has his son with his last name, kind of confirms it was a lover. Chevette's suit claims Scottie used his celebrity as a Chicago Bulls player to purportedly stalk, harass, and torment her. She alleged this caused her severe mental and emotional issues, and she lost housing and multiple employment opportunity over Scottie's stalking. According to her, Scottie used connections with federal, state, and local employees to cancel the police report she filed, and he alleged falsified the reports to depict her as, quote, mentally ill. Now, as you guys know, this is all alleged. It is yet to be seen in a court of law. So remember, everything is opinion-based for entertainment and alleged. Myself, you know me, I always believe the victim. And she's coming with, I guess, receipts to bring this whole lawsuit. But it sounds very familiar in that world of not just celebrity, but of powerful people, powerful men. And I'm not men bashing by any means. But we've seen this happen time and time again, even with Thomas Girardi. He was bullying and harassing his own clients to get them to drop claims and complaints against him when he was, stealing from them. So whether it is an ex-lover, an ex-client, an ex-whatever, people who have celebrity and fame and power and influence abusing that in order to silence people is nothing new. Now, if this is truly the case with her, that is yet to be seen. It is yet to either be settled or go to court. My question is, what was Larsa's role in this? Because she is named in the lawsuit. So my question is, what is Larsa's, position is this? Was she harassing her too? Was she in on it? Like, that's what I want to know. How did Larsa play into this? Okay. Chevette is seeking $250 million from the Chicago Bulls, Scottie, and his family concerning the allegations. So this is even bigger than just Scottie and Larsa. She's also suing the Chicago Bulls. This is also very reminiscent of the current lawsuit. I don't want to get too into it because it gets very dark and evil and all of that stuff, but against P. Diddy. They're not just suing P Diddy for these sexual and abusive allegations. They're suing Universal Media, their media group. They're suing multiple people, executives at the top. So what we're seeing now in these lawsuits is not just suing the quote famous person, but they're suing the entities, the corporations, the industry that has allowed these people to allegedly stalk, harass, abuse, have sex with without their consent victims. So I think that's a very interesting thing that we're seeing now. Even with Cassie, with her suit against Diddy, she didn't just sue Diddy, she sued the conglomerates, the corporations, the industry, the all of that. So we're seeing now also with the Bravo lawsuits, right? People just aren't suing Andy Cohen. They're suing Bravo, they're sending NBC, they're suing Shed Media, they're suing the production companies as well as the corporations and the networks. So that has been a big trend. Whereas previously, in years prior, it would be these people would just sue the celebrity. So that has been a big change. But I think for our purposes, I want to know, why is Larsa being sued? What is her alleged involvement in all of this? Was she also helping to harass and stalk? What did she just know? Is knowing enough? I'm not sure. According to Chevette, Scotty had promised to reimburse her for travel. She also said she wasn't aware of his marriage to Karen McCollum when he and Chevette were allegedly together. Karen and Scotty broke up in 1990. He married Larsa in 1997. So that's kind of the situation going on with them. I am very interested in seeing, what was Larsa's role in all of this? Why is she being on the chopping block in this situation? So, stay tuned for that. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So let's move on to our next story. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of Miami reunion, okay? It was a three-parter. It went down. And let's talk about the ladies. So I'm going to go down each one and give my thoughts. And I want to know what you guys are thinking. So comment down below. Say hi. Where are you watching from? Who was the best dress? Who was the worst dress? Whose side are you on? I want to know. Sound off in the comments, okay? Now, let's start out with Adriana. Adriana basically said 3 words in her entire reunion. She was barely there. I think, okay, Adriana. And then at the end, she did the Bible quote, which I thought was a bit of a reach. I don't like it when they sort of commercialize or sort of exploit the Bible for whatever weird narrative they're trying to create. But for me, Adriana, she was just there at the reunion. She didn't really say or do much. Throughout the season, I want to see a happier Adriana. I feel like she kind of needs to let her vendetta against Alexia and Marisol go. I get it. They were mean girls last season. I get it. They used to be friends. They're not friends anymore. But there comes a time where being so bitter and resentful toward people who, quote, did you wrong, it's like drinking the poison, expecting them to die. So Adriana needs to stop it. Trying to bring Anna in, that was a big fail. She just is looking very bitter and very petty. I'm not saying you have to forgive and forget, because I'm not like that. I forgive, but I never forget. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for her own self, so she doesn't look so worn out and tainted and bitter, let it go. I'm not saying you have to forget what they did to you and all that stuff, but you need to let it go so you can flourish in whatever you're doing. Now, Lisa. Girl, when Guerdy called her the mascot, I lived when Guerdy called her the mascot for for Larsa. I still think that Lisa and Lenny, I think they love it. I think they love reveling in the toxicity in their relationship and the bitterness of the relationship and the unhealthiness of the relationship. Why else are they drawing out this divorce? Why are they going to court? Why is he going back on everything? And I think Lisa loves it. I think she loves it. I don't think she's in love with Lenny because I don't think their love is healthy love. I think she's addicted to the abuse. I think she's addicted to the cycle of victim, perpetrator, victim, perpetrator. I think they both are addicted to it. And I think that Lisa, in her hearts of hearts, wants to get back with Lenny if she could. That's what I think if Lenny would take her back, she would go all the way back to him. I don't buy her in Jody at all. I think Jody is a piggy bank for her. That's just, again, my opinion. And I think that he's a good distraction. And Jody's hands allegedly aren't clean. Allegedly, he had a whole fiance right before he met Lisa. A whole fiance, wedding page, ready to go, everything ready to go. And it just seemed like she is I'm going to say it. I'm not being mean, but I feel like she's using him for comfort. I think she's using him to subsidize her life. And I'm not judging this. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm not saying that if you're in a relationship with a man or a woman and that person is able to subsidize your lifestyle that they shouldn't, or there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that. I don't judge people for that. I'm just saying what I think is going on here. But I do think that Lisa is still addicted to the toxicity of her relationship with Lenny. And I still think that her self-worth is tied up into when Lenny validates her or invalidates her. I don't think that she is over him or has broken free of that cycle yet. Now, when it comes to Lisa versus Kiki, I'm team Kiki all day long. Kiki read her for filth and she was 100% correct. Lisa forgot where she came from and got very, very bougie and better than you and I'm this and I'm that. And she tries it with Kiki because she thinks she can. People like Lisa who aren't really about that life, who aren't really tough, they pretend and they arch up and they try the people that they think they can try. That's why Kiki said everybody in this room said that you shouldn't be feeding the dogs and, basically maligning a whole culture of people, putting them down. But when I said just be nice or that's not nice, you jump up all in my face, you get up and you swear at me. Why do you disrespect me that way when you don't do it to all the other ladies? It's because Lisa thinks she can. She's like, Kiki's single, Kiki's black, Kiki doesn't have as much money as the rest of us. And when I say black, I think Lisa is racist? No, I don't mean that. What I mean is there are institutionalized, unconscious biases that people have. Everybody has them. I have them myself. If you're a human being on this planet, you have unconscious bias on some level. You have different levels of awareness, you have different levels of it, but you have some type of unconscious bias. It's just a part of the human condition. Doesn't make you a racist person. It just makes you a person who has lived in a society that has racism in it. Okay? So I do think that with Lisa, there is unconscious biases, very similar to like Dorit on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. When Garcelle called her an unconscious Karen, she hit the nail on the head. We're not saying these people are outright racist, but they do have that Karen-ness about them. Where it's like, I'm going to try the poor black girl because what unconsciously or subconsciously, you don't view her as a threat. You view her as beneath you. And you think that you can. You see what I'm saying? So I do agree with Kiki when she said that. So Lisa, I 100% think she does have these biases against Kiki, and she thinks that she can try her because she thinks that she is the least influential and powerful person, so she can project all of that onto her. Because her little bestie Larsa, to quiet as it's kept, her little bestie Larsa was reading this chick for filth the entire season, and the only thing she said to Larsa was, "Oh, you're mean, Larsa, you're mean." But she jumped up and she quickly found out going after Kiki. And her whole comment about, I can't heal your childhood wounds, I'm not a therapist. Lisa, sweetheart, the number one person in this group who needs a therapist is you, sweetheart. You are going to court with your allegedly narcissistic, abusive husband instead of settling when you have a alleged multi-millionaire boyfriend who's ready to give you the world, yet you're fighting over sticks and stones with Lenny over here. So who's the person who really needs a therapist? Who's the person who attracted a Lenny, stayed with him, and in my opinion, still wants to be with him, but yet you're talking about Kiki's childhood wounds? What happened to you where you think that's all you deserve? And I'm not victim blaming. She's the one who said it. I can't heal your childhood wounds. I'm not a therapist. So she brought the conversation to the table. I'm not victim blaming because I do think that Lisa is a victim of Lenny, but I also think she's a participant of it as well. And both things can be true. You can participate in toxicity and dysfunction and still be a victim of toxicity and dysfunction. They're not mutually exclusive. Usually in domestics like that, it's a combination of both. You participate and you're also a victim of. Doesn't negate that you're a victim. Sometimes it's more or less, but usually it's a combination of both. Doesn't mean she's not a victim because I do think that he does abuse her. That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's a fact. That's my opinion. But I think she participates in the dysfunction of it. So what happened in your childhood, Lisa, where you think a man like Lenny is what you deserve? Because it's not true. It's not. I don't rock with you like that, Lisa. But as a woman, as a human being, you don't deserve to be abused. You do deserve love. You do deserve healthy relationship. Even though you got some issues you need to work out, you don't deserve to be abused. So maybe you need to go get some therapist, work out your childhood issues so you can get a thing we like to call self-esteem. So you're not out here projecting your crap onto beautiful Kiki over here. So you're not projecting your crap onto your children. I don't like to talk about people's kids, but you put them on the show, so we're going to talk about it. You open the door. Your children are on this show talking about cheat days when it comes to eating. You are badgering them over wanting a piece of pizza. You need to check that before your children grow up having eating disorders and complexes about themselves and their own self-worth and self-esteem. Your children are at home and you're calling the police and things are going back and forth. So, Lisa, you need to clean your whole house out before you're out here throwing shots and darts at Kiki, who, for all intents and purposes, is very mature, very self aware, very vulnerable, very honest, and very open. And she's better than me because she was ready to forgive you in a heartbeat. And I was like, Kiki, hold up, girl. Like, pump the brakes. Lisa's not the one you want to be chummy chummy with. You see what I'm saying? So, Lisa, you need to heal your childhood wounds. You need to get a therapist for you and your children because you literally are giving them a blueprint for an eating disorder. It broke my heart when your children are talking about cheat days for eating when they're little kids and making them and shaming them for wanting snacks and pizza and food and this is all you get and all this stuff. You need to check your house, sweetheart, real quick. Lisa, I don't know what's going to keep happening with her and this whole Lenny situation. Her and Jody, I don't know what's going to happen in that situation. Jody seems very, very beta, but even beta men have a limit. My guess is that what happened with Lenny is going to happen with a Jody. I think there's going to be a younger, sexier version of Lisa that comes along who wants Jody's money and is going to seduce him or whatever you want to call it. And he's going to go do that. And the reason why I say that is he allegedly had a whole fiance right when he met Lisa. And then all of a sudden the fiance was nowhere to be seen. No one could hear of her. And now he's in a whole relationship with Lisa. How you got him is how you lose him. I'm not absolving Jody of what he did or how he's moving. I'm not at all. He's going to get his too. Karma knows everybody's address. So Lisa, get your life in order before you are out here. And also Lisa, you need to take a cue from Alexia. When your bestie is the toxic one, you might want to start having your own identity. Because Alexia this season basically was like Marisol, who you keep being the mascot for Larsa, see how far that gets you in life. Okay? Now, let's move on to Miss Lion Larsa. Girl. Is it me or is Larsa and Anna Marie from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills kind of same energy where they say something and then 2 seconds later they act like they didn't say it or who said that or you said that. I don't know if it's like she's actually lying consciously or if it's like a tick. I don't know what's going on, but this girl every time she talks she's lying. And I do believe what Guerdy and Alexia said, that Lisa behind the scenes threatens the girls. And it's like, if you don't have my back, if you're not loyal to me, then I'm going to spread stuff about you. I'm going to tell your secrets. I'm going to do things to the press. I do think she says that. I don't think Alexia was lying, and I don't think Guerdy was lying. You know what I mean? I do think that Larsa does that. I think she plays very, 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 very dirty. Also, let me take this thing off. Also, like you guys could see me. I was like, let me take this off. Like I'm on camera. Sorry, guys. So, also what's going on here is Marcus. So apparently, Marcus had a whole hot damn breakdown, hissy fit against the ladies at the reunion. Now, Miss Marcus, I'm gonna need you to get your little panties out of a bunch. Okay, Miss Marcus? What I mean by that is this. It grinds my gears, like on a gut level, when men are disrespectful of women. And the way he was talking about the women, like these women wouldn't even be able to like wash the dishes in my house. And oh, I wish I could be up on stage. I was like, wait a minute, Marcus. Do you want a mojito? Like, do you want to hold a mojito? Like, do you want to be a housewife? Like, it was a new side of Marcus that I had never really seen before. And I was like, oh, so this is the real Marcus. He wants to be a housewife. You know how Nene called Peter Patricia on Atlanta? I'm calling Marcus Miss Marcus. Miss Marcus, you want to be a housewife? You want to be a housewife, Miss Marcus? Like, I can't even. I can't. It just kind of shows what I've been saying the entire time, which is I don't believe that Larsa and Miss Marcus, because that's what I'm going to call him from now on. I don't believe that Larsa and Miss Marcus are in a real relationship. I think they're in a agreement situationship. I think he wanted fame. I think he wanted to quote get out of his father's shadow. And I think that Larsa had no problem going along with their little fake relationship because she needed storyline. She needed a man, she needed relevancy. She needed a podcast host, whatever you want to call it. That's what I think is really going on. We already know that Larsa doesn't actually even really live in Miami. She lives in Los Angeles with her children. And then she also lives in New York when it's convenient. And she lives in Miami when it's time to film. And all of this was nothing but a little publicity stunt for both of them. Now, the fact that he was at this reunion yelling at these women, calling them out, like I also have a article I want to read, you guys. Let me find it real quick. But basically what I'm saying is Miss Marcus needs to sit down and have several seats. You don't get up here disrespecting women and think it's cool and it's okay. And the fact that Larsa thought it was okay, the fact that Larsa was big upping him, I'm looking at her sideways. I'm looking at her all types of crazy. Now, I do think that, one second, my phone. Okay, I found the article I want to read. Here we go. Okay, so Julia slams Marcus Jordan as, quote, a Nepo baby who's using the Real Housewives of Miami to leverage a career from herself and shares where she stands with Larsa Pippen. Now, that's what I have been saying forever. And now we're getting more confirmation from it. Okay. This is according to Reality Blurb. She also revealed that they have feuded for years. She says, since leaving a communist country without a dollar to my name, I have had to work hard for everything I have achieved, said Julia, clapping back after Marcus's alleged reunion rant against the cast in an interview with Page Six. I will be neither belittled nor degraded by a Nepo baby who's using our platform to leverage a career from himself. During a reunion preview, Marcus shaded the cast for bringing up his father, Michael Jordan. He's like, my dad names keeps being mentioned, said Larsa to Andy Cohen backstage. Nobody asked about other people's dads and moms, and well, Andy commented, nobody else's dad is Michael Jordan. Now, I'm going to stop there to give my little 2 cents. So, the reason why I think Marcus is throwing this temper tantrum and why he's so in his feelings is because he feels inadequate to his father. Because everything he has is thanks to his father. He is a Nepo baby. The fact that he's even on the show, the fact he has the podcast, he has these weird little shoe fashion lines or whatever it is all through his father. His life, I'm sure, is from a trust fund. I doubt his little fashion companies are making any money. And I doubt his little podcast is making any money. So what else does he really have other than being Michael Jordan's son? And the problem is there is nothing wrong with being a Nepo baby. There is nothing wrong with having rich parents who subsidize your life. There is nothing wrong with that. What becomes wrong is when either through society or yourself or whatever, you wrap your identity and your self-worth into it. You can be a Nepo baby and know that you're still worthy and you're good enough and you are a good person and you just have a blessed life and that's okay. Or you could be a Nepo baby and you don't feel good enough, you feel less than, and instead of finding something that fulfills you, you become bitter and you become angry, and then you become like Miss Marcus, who is out here doing stunts because the problem isn't people bringing up your dad. The problem is you don't think that you're good enough. You don't think you're worthy. So when people bring up your dad, instead of being proud and like, yeah, that's my father, and I'm proud he's my father, and I am his son, and because that's my birthright, I have all this great stuff. I'm so grateful to him. You throw a little temper tantrum and get your panties in a bunch and you start cussing women out because of your own ego, because of your own lack of self-esteem, because of your own insecurity. Because if I had a father or a mother who was like a Michael Jordan, and my life was subsidized by that, and I was a Nepo baby, I would be so proud, but I would also be so humbled, and I would be so grateful. And I'd be like, you're damn right, my father is Michael Jordan. Look what he did. Look the life he provided for me. And I'm so grateful for that. And I would live my life with my little trust fund, and I'd be happy as a clam. But that's because I would have gratitude and humility. But the problem is he doesn't have that. He's not grateful to his father. He's spiteful. He's not humble. He's prideful. That's why his little ego is so fragile. That's why he's backstage cussing women out, going on rants against women. Sit down, Miss Marcus. Sit down and have several seats. And also stop doing these stunts with Larsa. We broke up. Kidding. We're back together and now she has a huge diamond ring. Stop it. Stop with the stunts, okay? It's not going to make anybody listen to your podcast. It's not going to make Miss Marcus happen. Stop with the stunts, okay? And this is another thing. Not only is Marcus a bitter Betty and a spiteful son, he's also cheap as hell. Because don't forget, Larsa said herself, I don't have anyone. When she was talking to Alexia about Todd, when she's talking to Lisa about Jody, she goes, I don't have anyone. Excuse me, miss? If I'm going to be up here with my big old self dating this man who is Michael Jordan's son, I am providing a platform for him because let's be serious. In this situation, Larsa is his come up. Sure, he may be Michael Jordan's son, but I know who the hell he was until he was attached to Larsa on this show. So quiet as kept, she is his come up. If I'm going to be Michael Jordan's sons come up, have him on my show, give him a platform, make him relevant in the pop culture world, he better be subsidizing my life. He better be. But clearly he's not, because she was saying how, well, you have a dual income household and I don't have anyone, when she's supposed to be in this, amazing relationship with Marcus. I can't go 5 days without throwing him a party. Separation anxiety, Marcus. But he ain't paying your bills. He ain't buying you stuff. He ain't flying you around the world. He ain't helping you out. But this is Michael Jordan's son? Don't get me wrong. I know my candy canes are smart. We're not nuanced Nellies. We are emotionally intelligent. I'm not talking about sugar daddy, sugar baby. I'm not talking about all of that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that, and if that's your life and that's your lifestyle, that's fine. I'm not judging that either. But that's not what I mean. Because I think as long as people are adults, as long as you are consenting, you live your life how you choose to live it. Other than that, I have no judgment on it. I don't judge. As long as it's consenting and you are adults, you live your life how you choose to live it. And I'm going to mind my business, and then I'm going to mind these reality stars' business for y'all. What I mean for that, but what I mean is, if I'm Larsa Pippen and I'm putting Miss Marcus Jordan on, because she did, let's be honest, she did put him on. I'm going to need to be Kris Jenner, and I need my 10%. I need my 10%. I need something. I need some type of kickback. I need something. But clearly, he's not giving her anything. And these fake stunts with the diamond ring, she probably bought that for herself, or it's probably from her own jewelry collection, or it's probably a brand collab. But when a woman is upset and in her feelings and defending herself the way she was with Alexia and Lisa, and it turned out she was jealous that they had Todd's and Jody's, that's when she was the most honest. When she said, I don't have anyone, she meant that, because he ain't really checking for her like that. Now, let's see what else. Marcus added, these women wouldn't be able to do the dishes in our home, let alone try bringing themselves in this conversation. Some people just need to stay in their lane. Miss Marcus, shut up. Like, why are you trying to talk like these women wouldn't be able to do the dishes? Do you know how to do a dish? Do you? Do you know how to do a dish? If you don't know how to do a dish, be quiet. That's what I mean by there's a special place in hell for men who demean women. Before the clip was released, an insider told Page Six that Marcus had a heated moment backstage. The women did not hear what Marcus said backstage and didn't even know about the incident until after the reunion tape, said the source. But it was captured and the ladies have been made aware of it. In Julia's recent interview with the outlet, she said there was no resolution with Larsa at the reunion, and their conversations indicated that a potential friendship is unlikely. She claimed they are not on speaking terms. So this is code for whatever we saw that Marcus said and that was leaked is the tip of the iceberg of what this man actually said. That's what that is code is for. Because yeah, these women couldn't do the dishes in my house. That's weird and mean and derogatory. But I don't think that's enough for how hard Julia is going with Larsa and that they're not on speaking terms and that it was a rant. I think Miss Marcus is probably being protected. He probably said a hell of a lot worse than what we know. And then also, I just got a pit in my stomach at the reunion when he's backstage with Jody and he's like, oh, I wish I was on that stage. I wish I was up there. I was like, Miss Marcus, excuse me, ma'am? Like, why do you want to be on the stage with the ladies? You want to go on the stage and cuss the women out? Is that what you want, Miss Marcus? You want to be on the stage so you can cuss out women? Where they do that at? Miss Marcus, you need to sit down. And that's when I was like, his whole mask slipped. His whole mask. I give people a lot of chances, but when something big happens or you hear that something big happens, it really can change your perspective of the person itself. And I don't need to be around them, Julia shared. They're not part of my life. They never really were. We are not friends. And I feel like our feelings toward each other are pretty mutual. Mm-mm-mm. So that means he really said something really, really disgusting and really, really gross. Miss Marcus, have several seats. Your slip is all the way showing. We see each other. Bye bye, boo boo. Go get a life. Okay? Go get a life. And that's another tragedy when people have been given the keys to the kingdom. You know, you have a famous last name. You have allegedly oodles of money, whether that is true or not, because this is another thing I've realized. A lot of times, these super uber celebrities that we think have so much money, turns out they really don't have that much money or as much money as we think. So maybe the trust fund is dry. Maybe the well has dried up. Maybe Michael Jordan put a kibosh on subsidizing the life of his grown ass son. Maybe the money isn't moneying. Who knows? Maybe the trust fund, the well is dry. That's why he's on this reality show trying to cuss out women. That's why he's on this dry podcast that nobody listens to. That's why he's out here doing PR stunts with lying Larsa Pippen. Maybe the well is dry. Maybe the checks have stopped clearing. I don't know. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So, with that, let's get back to the reunion breakdown. Okay. Lion Larsa Pippen. Girl, just admit you had the BBL. In my opinion, you got the BBL. Admit it. You got a nose job. You got cheek fillers. You might have did a Stassi Stroder and even got some chin implants going on. You got your boobs done. You got the BBL. In my personal opinion, that's what I think. And I'm not body shaming. I'm just saying, I think people should be more honest so people aren't idolizing something. I'm not going to say that isn't real, but that isn't naturally obtained. You see what I'm saying? It kind of takes the pressure off of people who are influenced by a person like a Larsa Pippen. Like me personally, she doesn't influence me. I don't want to be like her. I don't want to look like her. None of that. But but for people who may be younger or more impressionable or more vulnerable, I think the more honest we are about stuff, the less pressure it takes off of people like that, if that makes sense. Her versus Guerdy. Team Guerdy all day long. Lying Larsa. She lied and said she thought Guerdy meant don't tell the press. On what planet, in what world, did she think that Guerdy meant don't tell just the press and only the press for don't tell the press and only the press for what do you call it? About my cancer diagnosis. Girl, bye. Then Larsa also got up there and lied about then Larsa got up there and lied saying that, oh, Guerdy never even told me to Alexia and all them. And Alexia came out and was like, no, Larsa, you lied to me and says she never said to not tell anybody, but we're seeing everything go down. Also, when Larsa went to Dr. Nicole and was like, oh, is she lying about her cancer diagnosis? Is she lying about her cancer diagnosis and all of that? She said it was a trick or a stunt. Now, ma'am, lying Larsa, on what planet do we think it's okay? And then she tried to play the victim like Guerdy's attacking her. On what planet did you think it was okay to, one, tell anyone about Guerdy's diagnosis, let alone on camera to multiple people, including the other girls and then your group of friends at a party? Number two, on what planet do you think it's okay to talk behind somebody's back and question whether or not they have cancer? I'm not talking about Brooks from the OC. We all knew he was lying. I'm talking about Guerdy. Guerdy. Behind her back. I'm just super confused. And then third, on what planet does that make you the victim? On what planet does that not justify Gertie coming for your neck and your face and your fake tits and your fake boobs every time she sees you on sight? And then at the finale, being like, go worry about your health? Disgusting. Go worry about your health, Larsa. Your halitosis, because you look like your breath stank. Go worry about your health, Larsa. Go worry about Miss Marcus over here trying to cuss out women. Go worry about your situation. Go worry about your lawsuit, because you are in a lawsuit with Scottie Pippen's, I'll just say alleged ex-lover, who allegedly had his whole son, may he rest in peace, but you're implicated in a lawsuit of stalking, harassment, and people having sex with her without her consent. We know what that's called. You need to go worry about being sued out here in a $250 million lawsuit that you are implicated in. So yes, let Gertie, glory to God, she's cancer free. Let Gertie be happy with her health and her whole beautiful husband and her whole beautiful family and her whole beautiful life. And you go worry about this lawsuit you're implicated in. Worry about your children, who are probably reading the same lawsuit I'm reading, the same headlines I'm reading about their father and their uncles and what they allegedly did to this woman. So, how about you and Lisa go figure out your childhood wounds? What about you and Lisa go get a therapist for yourselves and your children? Because both of y'all got a lot of cleaning up to do. Because I promise you, if I'm implicated in a $250 million lawsuit against me and my ex-husband and other people alleging that him and his brothers did the unthinkable to a woman, I need to worry about my children. You and Anna Marie, y'all need to get together. Anna Marie from Beverly Hills, similar situation. Her husband being sued for having sex with women without their consent. So if I was a y'all, the last thing I would be worried about would be going at it with women on a stage for Bravo to collect the check, for NBC to collect the check, when you got some real life problems at home. You need to go check on your kids, check on their mental well-being, their emotional well-being. That's who you need to go check on, since you're so worried about Gertie calling you fake, that you do a whole smear campaign against a woman who is battling cancer because she called you fake. I'm pretty sure that's not the first time somebody called you fake, Larsa, because you are fake. You lie and your body's fake. What's the problem? Go check on your children. Anyway, let's go to Gertie. Okay. Gertie, I love you, girl. I absolutely love you. I think she had a great season. I love that she was trying to normalize cancer. I loved how Russell was there beside her every step of the way. I loved how she kept her foot on Larsa's neck every single time she got. Every single time she got. I loved how she had her foot on her neck every single time she got. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I love that she was real. I love that she didn't let up. I have no notes. No notes for Gertie. I think she did a great job. She was real. She was honest. I also loved the way they handled telling their children the cancer news on camera, how Russell told them privately first and prepared them, and they didn't just spring it on them while they were on camera, that he told them privately. And then the moments where they did talk about it with the kids, it was very much like during bowling or playtime. It wasn't so like traumatic, which I think is good because they're going through a traumatic situation, but you want to make it as less traumatic for the children as possible. So I love that the way they handle that. And I love the way that she shows her children, but she doesn't do it too much. You know, some housewives, their whole storyline is their kids. And I get it, their moms, great. But I want the show to be about their lives and have their children just be an extension of them, not in a narcissistic way, but just in like a, just an extension of them, but not be them. So I love that she does that. I had no notes for Gertie. She came, she slayed, she stayed on Larsa's lion neck. She looked fabulous. Happy and health to her. I look forward for next season. I also loved when she was on, I think she was on Carlos King. She was on Carlos King's show, and she was saying how a lot of times when it's two black girls or two black and brown girls on a show, the narrative is always, do you want her or her? Right? It's like, oh, can it be Guerdy or Kiki? And she's like, no, it can be Guerdy and Kiki. And it's true. A lot of times they do that. Do you want Garcelle or Anna Marie, Garcelle or Sheree or whoever it is? And it's like, why does it have to be like that? Nobody's like, is it Marisol or Alexia? They're both blonde. We got to get rid of one of the blondes. That never happens. And so I loved how Drew liked that, because again, I think that's an unconscious bias that a lot of us have, where it's like, quote, seats at the table. Well, we already have one black girl. We can't have two black girls, God forbid, unless it's an all black ensemble, So I do like she brought light to that, where it's almost like we subconsciously or habitually pit us against each other. It can't be two of them, but why not? We can have both. Now let's move on to Marisol. Marisol this season was much more subdued. I think she got the note that last season she was a little bit too messy with all of the rumors and the lies and the fake receipts and all of that stuff. People were out here. She was trying to be, this person's dating a married man, turned out not to be true. Dr. Nicole can't be trusted. She's sleeping with everybody in the hospital to get clout at the hospital. Not true. I think Marisol got the note to chill out. Julia came for her neck all season on behalf. The thing is, I don't even think Julia came for Marisol's neck because of Adriana, because we kind of saw cracks in that friendship. I think she was coming for her neck for storyline and because of what her ex told her at the dinner, because I definitely saw cracks with Julia and Adriana. Adriana was just like, this season, I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet. I'm not going down with you. You are a friend of, I am the full-time housewife. Let me stand on my own, which I think was the smart move and the right move, because we got to see Julia for herself. She got to I might as well just I'm doing Julia and Marisol right now. We got to see Julia stand on her own 2 feet. She had her own identity. We got to see her be friends with Alexia and really tell her own story without being a mouthpiece for Adriana. I also love that Julia did not take the bait when it came to trying to introduce Anna back onto the scene and to bring in those rumors about Alexia and Todd and their finances and Marisol and all that stuff. I'm happy she didn't take the bait and that she didn't let Adriana throw Dr. Nicole under the bus, because I don't think Dr. Nicole knew that Adriana was basically setting up Alexia and Marisol with the whole Anna thing. I really don't think she was in on the plot. You could tell because Adriana got quiet, a little sneaky look on her face, like, okay, I'm just going to let this ride on out. And Dr. Nicole was out here crying and losing her damn mind and felt so betrayed and sad and distraught and all this stuff because she was like, they don't want to be friends with me. They don't like me. And it's like, girl, it's not that deep. The problem is Adriana set you up to be the fall guy. Alexia is jealous of you. And Marisol is just out here not knowing what the hell's going on. So I do like that. I do like the fact that sorry, I'm getting hot. I'm taking my sweater off. So I do like the fact that Julia had her own identity along with Alexia. So let's move on to Alexia. I think last season Alexia was angry, mad, bitter, going through it. And I think this season Alexia was sad. She almost seemed like a Stockholm victim. I don't know what's going on with Alexia. I don't think things are good in her marriage. I don't think the finances are good in her marriage. I think that last season she was mad and bitter and it did not come across good, but this season she seemed shook to me. She seemed sad, she seemed stressed, she seemed shook, like something's going on. Again, I don't know, this is just my opinion. I think that her husband, Todd, promised her he had all this money, this amazing life. Maybe he really did have the money and something happened, because that does happen in business. And I wish this on nobody. So I hope I'm wrong, but this is just what I think. Something happened with the market, the money, real estate, I don't know. One bad investment, two, I don't know. Something happened with the money where the money is either frozen or gone or something. And he's not in the same position that he was when he promised her this life. And that's why they had to get out of that rented apartment so fast. I think she's very resentful that they rent and they don't own. I think she's very resentful for whatever financial situation they're in. I think their marriage is under a lot of stress. I think that he does not like her children. I think he likes Frankie, but I think he has issues with Peter. I think he has issues with their codependent lifestyle because, to be honest with you, Alexia's husband is her son's. Well, Alexia's husband is Peter, put it that way. I don't mean in a sexual way. I don't mean like that. I mean in like a psychological enmeshment way. They are so enmeshed and so codependent on each other that Alexia's man is not her husband. Her man is Peter. That's why her husband gets pissed off. That's why we have scenes where he's like, why are you going to his house to do his laundry? He's a grown man. Why are you still giving them money? Why are you still doing this? You guys need to be help. You guys need professional help. You are enabling this dysfunction. I think Alexia has I think she's 100% comfortable in the dysfunction. I think she has no problem with Peter being her man. I think she has no problem with enabling her children and her sons. I think she wants her son to be, I think she wants to be the number one woman in her son's life at all times, as he's the number one man in hers. I think that level of dysfunction really messed up the dynamic of her marriage with Todd. I think they both feel like they got scammed by the other one. I think Todd feels like I didn't get the woman I thought I was going to get. And I think she thought I didn't get the man I thought I was going to get. And I think they both are keeping up appearances. But I think it's a front. I think behind closed doors, they're probably fighting all the time. It's probably a lot of tension. It's probably not a really healthy, happy place. And I think they both feel like this isn't what I thought I was getting when we got married. That's what I really think is going on with both of them. And I think she's really, really stressed the hell out. And I think she has bigger fish to fry than being Marisol's sidekick. That's why at the reunion, she was like, when Andy was like, oh, who's the liars and all of that stuff, she was like, well, Marisol forgets a lot. And Marisol was all in her feelings. And we've seen the cracks in that friendship where Alexia's like, I'm not fighting your battles anymore. You can speak for yourself. I'm not going there. Marisol, stop. Like, she made it very clear, I'm my own woman this season. I'm not going down with a burning ship. I'm still your friend, but I'm not rocking with you the way I used to rock. I don't want to go down like this. We saw the beginning of this when they were on Ultimate Girls Trip. They're like, why do we have to room together and all this stuff? I think Marisol is still holding on to how their friendship used to be. I think Marisol feels very betrayed and she feels very sad. And she wants her bro back and like gawkies. Like, I think Marisol harkens for the days where they were thick as thieves, two peas in a pod. I think Alexia is like, I got bigger fish to fry right now, boo boo. I'm trying to hold on right now. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I had to move out of this place I don't own in under 2 weeks. I have to pretend like my marriage is happy. I have to pretend like my husband still loves me. I have to pretend like the ship isn't on fire. I think Alexia has bigger fish to fry right now than being Marisol's sidekick. Whereas Marisol is still kind of in this sort of Peter Pan whimsical world, which is completely fine. She's doing spiritual ceremonies with her boyfriend, calling him her spiritual husband. She doesn't have children. She has money. She kind of has different priorities and obligations in life, which is fine. I'm not judging that. People make different choices. I personally don't have children, never will. I'm more of a Marisol vibe. I'm not going down that road. I don't want that responsibility of a children. Absolutely not. So I'm not judging her by any means because I don't judge myself for that. Like I always say, you're an adult, you decide how to live your life. Everybody else's opinion, be damned. As long as it makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anybody, live your life how you want to live it. So I'm not judging her for that. But I'm very well aware that they have two different sets of obligations and pressures. If I'm Alexia and allegedly my husband doesn't have the money anymore for whatever reason, if I'm Alexia, my adult children are still extremely dependent on me, especially Frankie for reasons out of his control. Peter, hot ass mess. those are different sets of pressure and stresses. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that Alexia is moving differently than Marisol, and we've seen the cracks in those relationships. Now, I do like Alexia is growing on me more. I think that once she sort of puts the torch down for Dr. Nicole, which we kind of saw happening, at the reunion when she was like, I do want to get to know you. We should be friends. Like, there's no reason why we want to. Things just keep getting in the way. I think she was saying like Marisol or Adriana, because to be fair, Adriana was a big reason why Dr. Nicole and Alexia fought this season, because of the whole Anna situation. That wasn't Marisol's doing. That was Adriana's doing. So I do think that once she sort of puts that torch down, and I think there is a little bit of jealousy in that, a little bit of like, when it comes to Alexia and Dr. Nicole, I think she's like, Dr. Nicole is beautiful. She's young. She's rich. She has a husband. I think she kind of, she's kind of like the new Miami Barbie. She's kind of the new girl who has the private jets and who has the yachts and has this, that, and the third. Well, she's not married. She doesn't have a husband. She has a fiance. We'll get to that. But I do think there's a part of Alexia that kind of harkens back to like wanting that or having had that, right? So I like Alexia as long as she, keeps it together and stops being bitter and stop going after Dr. Nicole. Now let's get to Dr. Nicole. Okay, Dr. Nicole, love her, love her, love her, love her. I think she's really beautiful. I think she's funny. I think she's smart. I think she's brilliant. I think she's genuine. I do think she was a bit set up with the whole situation with what do you call it? I think she was set up with the whole situation with Anna. I think Adriana did set her up. I don't think she was in on it. I don't think she knew what exactly was going to happen at the Mother Days brunch. I really, really don't, because I do think her tears were real. And I could feel in her when she was like, they just want to not like me. They keep wanting me to like make myself, something that I'm not. And I always have to defend myself to be friends with them. When she was crying to like Guerdy and Julia, I think that to me, that was genuine and real. And I don't think she would have said that and felt that way if she was like in on some plot. I really think she was blindsided too, which is really sad. Now, when it comes to her husband, girl, I'm not a therapist and I'm not a doctor, but we all have a thing called Google. So we can look up, Freud, all of these dispositions. I do think she got in a relationship with a man who is just like her father. What I mean by that is this. She is in a relationship. I forgot what her husband's name is. Anyway, him. She is in a relationship with her husband, or her fiance rather, with a man who provides everything for her except emotional commitment. And that to me is exactly how her father is. Yeah, and what I mean by everything, I know Dr. Nicole is an anesthesiologist. I know she makes her own money. I know she is very intelligent and she is a doctor and makes her bank. Yes, I know that. What I'm saying is that she is with a man who has a lot of money. He's very flashy. He's very audacious, just like her father. Her father got his money, how he got it. He went to jail and prison and all that stuff. We get that. But they both, Anthony and her father are very similar. They're both very peacocky men. They like to show off their money. Whether it's let's go look at the yachts, let's look at the cigars, let's have the fancy suits and the houses and all of this. They're very flashy, gaudy, alpha mega men, right? And they both do love her, but they both are unable to commit to her in an emotional way that she's been needing her entire life. They're very, very similar men. I'm not saying Anthony is a crook or I don't mean that. I mean like on a Freudian level. They're very, very similar men. And the fact that he has not married her yet is the dysfunction and the dysfunctional relationship that she's trying to get from him that she never got from her father. Right? The father is very flashy, just like Anthony. They have all this money, right? But yet they can't actually commit to her and validate her in the way she needs. She can get up on this show and give every excuse in the book as to why she's okay. You know what I mean? How why she's okay with him not being ready for marriage and all of this stuff. But when you look in her eyes and you hear her voice, she's clearly disappointed. She's clearly embarrassed and she's clearly making excuses. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's about her why Anthony doesn't want to get married. I do think he's in love with her. I do think that she's the one for him. I don't think he's out here cheating and I don't think any of that. There are people who can love you but not want to be married. And there's are people who may love you or may not love you, but they don't want to be married to you. And these are different things. I think it's the first. I think Anthony loves her, but I don't think Anthony wants to be married, period. It's not that Anthony doesn't want to be married to her. I think he just doesn't want to be married because there are people out there who don't want to be married. Doesn't mean they don't love their partner. Doesn't mean they're not committed to their partner. It just means they don't want to be married. So, ladies, listen up. If you're in a situation where you are popping out kids for this man, where you've been with this man for years on years on years, you clearly want to be married and he's not marrying you, you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. The very first question is, do I want to be married? Is that a non negotiable for my own mental and emotional and spiritual health? If that answer is yes, then you got to ask the second question. Does this man want to be married? Full stop. Yes or no? If that answer is a yes, then okay, you can move on, figure things out, go to therapy. If the answer is no, you might have to fold it in. Cash in the checks, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Because there will always be resentment in your relationship. There will always be a bitterness. There will always be a part of you that thinks, I gave up A, B, C, D, E, F, G for you. And that will always breed resentment on either side. Either her, because I think it's going to be her, is always going to resent him for not actually committing to her in the way that she needs to be committed. I don't care what you say. To be perfectly honest, you can have any type of relationship you want, but in our society, the highest level of true commitment is marriage. I'm not saying that that means people in marriages are happy and committed and faithful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about in principle, the principle of it. In principle, the highest level of commitment is marriage. Obviously, there are dysfunctional marriages. Duh. I'm talking about in principle. And I think that when you are a person who wants that type of commitment and you don't get it, you will always resent your partner for not giving it to you. Conversely, when you are a person, male or female, who does not want to be married for whatever the case may be, and you marry someone to make that person happy, you then will always resent that person. I gave up A, B, C, D, E, F, G for you. That's why you have to truly be compatible with the person you decide to spend your life with. Compatibility looks like I want marriage, you want marriage. I want to be married to you, I want to be married to you. Compatible. Not I want marriage, I don't want marriage. I want to be married because married means I'm worthy and I'm this and I'm that. So I'm just going to make you marry me so I look better and I feel better about myself. That's not compatibility. Right? Also, not compatibility. I want marriage. I don't. Okay, well, I'm going to pretend I don't want marriage because I would rather keep you than admit that I don't really want to be married. That's not compatible either. I know I went down a big old rabbit hole with this, but I think that I do think Anthony truly is in love with Nicole, but I don't think he is the person who wants to be married. I think he gave her a shut up ring. Shut up to her, shut up to the world, shut up to Larsa, shut up to everybody else. It was the whole thing with, having children out of wedlock and all that comments that Larsa said. And Larsa's disgusting. She's a disgusting person. To me, there's no such thing as a bastard. There's no such thing as a child not being worthy and valuable because their parents aren't married. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense, Larsa. Larsa needs to just go under a rock and wither away. Because that's so disgusting. That is so disgusting. What if there are children watching, or not even children, people, adults? There are adults who still go to this world feeling not good enough and unworthy because they were born, quote, out of wedlock. Who gives a crap? There's a lot of people born into wedlock in dysfunctional marriages. Who cares? What matters is that you are here. So whether you were born in wedlock, out of wedlock, in dysfunction, not in dysfunction, doesn't matter. You're still worthy. You're lovable. You're good enough. You're not a bastard. That's just a term people use because they wanted to keep money within their own bloodlines. So in order to keep the money and property and the assets in their own bloodline, they started to dismiss and bastardize innocent children. There's no such thing as a bastard. There's no such thing as a child being less than because their parents aren't married. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. But unfortunately, that does strike chords in our society because that we've been brainwashed and trained to think that nonsense. When the only reason why people made up that crap was because they were greedy and they wanted to keep money and property within certain households. It's really all that's about. So no child is a bastard in my eyes. All childs are beautiful blessings. But I think he felt the pressure. And Dr. Nicole to be like, well, let's focus on, renovating and another baby cooking. Because this is the thing. I don't care how much money you have or you don't have. If you want to be married, you could go to the courthouse and get married. You know what I mean? You could go to the courthouse and get married. You could go to Vegas and get married. You live on a multi-million dollar property. You could have a backyard ceremony. I bet their backyard is more lavish than 60% of marriages out there. Their backyard, they have all this money. So it's not about time, the way she tried to make it out to be. It's about an unwillingness. Wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be popping out kids for a man who made it explicitly clear he does not want to be married when marriage is what I want, because I do think she wants to be married. Anyway, let me get off of that soapbox. Other than that, no notes for Dr. Nicole. I think she's really fun. I think she's great. Condolences for her father passing away. That was really sad. But yeah, I think she's in a relationship with a man who mimics the dynamic she had with her father. He gives her everything but the one thing she wants. And that's, to me, is kind of sad. But I love them. They're really, really cute. But other than that, love them. We talked about Julia. Kiki. This was Kiki's season. She did an amazing job. I think she was so fresh and so fun and so vibrant and absolutely amazing. I think that she just was everything. I loved her vulnerability. I loved how honest she was. I love that she stuck up for herself against Lisa. She stuck up for herself against Larsa. She was a little bit too quick, in my opinion, to want to be kumbaya with them again. But that's sort of how Kiki is. She doesn't hold a grudge. She doesn't hold resentment. She's really fun and great. She's a little, I don't know, what, guys? What's going on? My heart broke for her when nobody showed up at her swim week event. That was so dirty. Again, it goes back to what I was saying before. They view her, whether it's a conscious viewing or a subconscious viewing, as less than. That's why we were so able to easily dismiss her. I think if it was Larsa's event, they would have moaned and complained and talked about Larsa, but they would have showed up. If it was anybody's event, they would have moaned and complained and gossiped behind their back, but they would have showed up. But because it was Kiki's event, it was like, oh, the day is done. I'm out. I'm bouncing. The day is over. See ya. And I think that was really, really dirty. I think the only people who stayed were Adriana and Julia, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I think Kiki should be full time next season. And Kiki, if you're listening to this, negotiate for a huge amount up front. Don't let them lowball you of, oh, we're going to give you this little bit amount. And then as you prove yourself, no. If we've learned anything from all of this stuff coming out about these reality shows, negotiate big, and not just in reality, but for any job. Negotiate big upfront, because that upfront amount is what they then always base things on. Well, you'll get a 10% increase from your base salary. Oh, we'll give you, 20% more. Everything is from that base amount. So they try to lowball you. Not everybody, I'm just talking about the bad ones. They try to lowball you with that low base amount and gaslight you with, oh, it's your first season full time. Blah. No. Kiki was this season, okay? Guerdy and Kiki were the entire season. Kiki came and she played every single scene. She was more relevant than Adriana. She was more relevant than Marisol. I know both of them are friends of, but she was more relevant than both. Quiet. She was it the entire season. Give Kiki her flowers, give her her money. Love Kiki, no notes. I loved how she was honest. I didn't know she had 2 children. I knew she had like the one girl. What else? I loved her honesty, and I loved it. And I want to see more of her, and I really hope they bring her back full time. Kiki and Guerdy. So that's kind of where I land on this, you guys. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. But before you do that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So, what do we want to talk about next? Huh? Do we want to do some Vanderpump Rules? Actually, I've been on for an hour. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and talk about Real Housewives of Miami, Beverly Hills, or anything else you want to talk about. Come on up and talk. But put it in the chat box. Do you want me to cover Beverly Hills or Pump Rules next? We can do a couple of those stories. Put it in the chat box what you guys want to talk about next. And then I'll pull up a story for you guys. Dun, dun, dun. Let's do one about Raquel talking about James. Tay says Beverly Hills. Okay. Let's see if I have one for Beverly Hills. Okay, we can do Beverly Hills. Let's do Dorit and PK. Apparently, it's over with these guys. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right. So this is according to page 6. It says PK Kimsley steps out without his wedding ring after Dorit questions their marriage. Okay. PK Kimsley was photographed without his wedding ring after his wife Dorit Kimsley questioned if they will be able to stay together. Kimsley was snapped in Los Angeles without his ring while grabbing a bite with author Sadie Turner on Wednesday afternoon. The British businessman, 56, was seen holding his phone and smoking a cigarette with both hands during the outing. Now I'm going to look up Sadie Turner and see what book she's written, because what is she doing with PK? The duo dined outdoors for hours, we're told. They both seemed to be in good spirit. He wore a gray Tommy Hilfiger hoodie over a black shirt with ripped blue jeans and white sneakers. He held onto his phone in a yellow case and a pack of cigarettes, and later ordered a soda and a soup while eating outside. Okay, soda and soup. Meanwhile, Turner, who was a British producer and writer, also kept it casual in a colorful striped sweater, blue skinny jeans, and blue and orange Nike sneakers. I love how the authors are like we need to get enough words in, so let's just describe everything they're wearing. Okay. I wonder if PK is doing maybe like a memoir. If she's a producer and a writer, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out with like a memoir on like his life journey or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. She pulled her hair back in a messy top on with sunglasses, blah, 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 blah. So he doesn't come out and say that. Now, this is the thing when it comes to PK and Dorit. Do I think there's trouble in paradise? 100%. Why? I think the number one problem is money. I think that the money has ran out. And I think that she, and by she I mean Dorit, is tired of the alleged fraud schemes and shenanigans. I think that she is ready for an upgrade. I think she wants a younger man. I think she wants a hotter man. I think she wants a richer man. I think she wants Mauricio. Oh, did I say it? I said it. So I do think that there's trouble in paradise. Because again, I don't think it's a coincidence that the moment all the allegations came out about Dorit and Mauricio allegedly having some affair or at the bare minimum sexual chemistry, that both of these marriages imploded. Both Kyle and Mauricio's marriage imploded. Both PK and Dorit's marriage imploded. Both PK and Mauricio were facing massive lawsuits. Mauricio has more pull with the dark entities in the world, so it got dismissed. PK, I don't think he has as much pull. Who knows what's going on with that? So I think she's kind of tired of the shenanigans of it all, especially now that she has kids. And I think she's looking for an upgrade. Now, when it comes to Dorit versus Kyle, I never thought that Dorit really liked Kyle like that. I always thought that Dorit was using Kyle for cover for the show. Once Dorit turned on LVP, because LVP was the one who got her on the show, and Dorit to me is a fair weather friend. She's your friend as long as you can provide her cover. By cover, I mean that you can provide her storyline, relationship, and protection to stay on the show for money and for relevancy. And so when everybody turned against LVP, Dorit jumped on that bandwagon to turn against LVP. Because again, I don't think Dorit ever really liked LVP either. I think Dorit is an opportunist, and I think she is a social climber. I don't know how far she's climbing, but I think that she is a climber. So I think that's what happened with her. Now that it serves Dorit to go against Kyle, because again, the core reason why I think that Kyle stopped messing with Dorit, she can make any excuse Kyle wants to make. Oh, it's because Dorit, went against me with Kathy at the reunion. Oh, it's because Dorit didn't stand up for Teddy at BravoCon. All of these nonsensical reasons. She can say that to the cows come home. The real reason why you don't mess with Dorit anymore is because the whole world was questioning if she was having sex with your husband or not. And the problem is that was actually probably a plausible rumor to you. Kyle probably thought in her mind, I wouldn't put it past either of them that they are having an affair. And I think that is the core reason why their friendship, the demise of their friendship. I don't know why Kyle won't just come out and say it. I don't know why she's pussing around the point, but that is what I really think is going on with them. And I think because she is no longer in favor with Kyle, she's doing tricks and all this stuff. Like, let me expose her text messages. Now, some people think that, Dorit exposing Kyle's text messages of like, hey, listen, they don't even know how bad it is between us, what's going on. Let's not talk about it at the reunion. I love you. I miss you, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about it, behind the scenes later, as Kyle being manipulative and a sniper from the side. I actually disagree with that. I don't think that Kyle was being manipulative. Like, do I think Kyle has been manipulative? 100%. Do I think she has been a sniper from the side? 100%. But in this situation, I think Kyle was like, we've both have been lying throughout this season because Kyle was just like, they don't even know. And for production not to know the gravity of the situation and their relationship means both of them had to be pretending and fronting. So when Dorit's in the car talking to Kyle about, oh, what's going on with Mauricio, and she invites Kyle over for pizza at her place, like they're still friends, they both were fronting last season and acting like their friendship was still halfway decent when it really wasn't. So basically, what Kyle was saying was, so this entire season, we both have been fronting like our relationship is kind of okay. Our friendship is kind of okay. I'm just clocking in and making sure that is still the position. I'm just clocking in and making sure that is still the position, that you're going to lie and that I'm going to lie cuz I got a lot to deal with tomorrow. I got to talk about Morgan, I got to talk about Mauricio, I got to go after Sutton, I got to go after Crystal. I got a lot on my plate tomorrow, girl, and you are not one extra person I want on my plate tomorrow. So I'm just going to check in and make sure we still are both on the same page of lying. That is basically what Kyle's text message was to Dorit. But Dorit said, I need a storyline. I need relevancy. Nobody is checking for Kyle. She can no longer provide cover for me. This sounds like a good time to throw her under the bus. And that's exactly what she tried to do. So in that situation, I actually side with Kyle because I think the only reason why Dorit shared those text messages was for a moment, was for a beat, was for relevancy, and to jump ship the way she always does. That's what I really think happened with that. So that's kind of where I land with them on that one. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think is the real reason why PK and Dorit seem to be headed for one second, you guys. Headed for divorce. And what do you think the real reason why Kyle and Dorit friendship is basically over? The demise of their friendship, how they're not checking for each other anymore. What do you think is really going on there? So before you do that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So let's see. Did anybody want to come up? No. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next story, which is, let me pull up the thing, all about our next story, which is all about the alleged demise of Andy Cohen. And is he being replaced by Kate Chastain? Dun, 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 dun. So, as we all know, Kelly Dodd loves to have a moment. She loves to put her 2 cents in on what's going on with Bravo ever since she was fired. But her and her hubby might be onto something here. Now, Kelly Dodd is not my favorite person in the entire world. She's also problematic at times. She also has issues at times. But I want to see if her and her husband just might be onto something. So this is according to All About the Real Housewives, the truth. It says, Kelly Dodd and her husband, Rick Leventhal, believe that Andy Cohen's days with Bravo are numbered. The Real Housewives of Orange County alum and her husband think that Watch What Happens Live host the Watch What Happens Live host is working with Bravo on his exit from the network. On Rick and Kelly's Daily Smash podcast, the two reveal that they believe this statement to be true given the recent allegations against Andy Cohen. As previously reported, Brandi Glanville has made several sexual harassment claims against Andy, while Leah McSweeney filed a lawsuit against Bravo and Andy in which she claims the Real Housewives executive snorts nose candy, with his favorite housewives. Rick, who's a former Fox News correspondent, shared, my prediction is he's negotiating an exit right now. His agent and his lawyers are working with Bravo's agents and lawyers, NBC Universal's agents and lawyers, and they're coming up with a buyout. They're going, we can't have this. We can't. Because if that goes to trial, like we're going to testify that he did or didn't do drugs, and they're going to call witnesses, and then they're perjuring themselves if they lie. He continued, "It's never going to trial. The lawsuit's been filed. They're going to have to settle it. And in the process of settling the lawsuit, Andy, my prediction, he's going to negotiate his exit from Bravo. That's what I think is going to happen," Rick said. "Rick is always good at these things," says Kelly. "I told y'all that this guy is good at these predictions." Dun, 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 dun. Despite Kelly and Rick's theory, Andy Cohen isn't going down without a fight. On Thursday, the Watch What Happens Live host legal team fired off a letter demanding Leah retract her allegations or face going to court. Andy Cohen's legal team calls Leah's allegations baseless and false. "We demand that you immediately retract and withdraw all allegations relating to Mr. Cohen's purported nose candy use," the legal letter read. The 55-year-old's legal team continued, "Mr. Cohen never used nose candy with any cast member on any Real Housewives or with any other Bravo employee. The absence of any reasonable basis to make such allegations is confirmed by your pleading itself." Now, I'm going to break down what I think is going on, but we should also look at this blind item from Crazy Days and Nights, okay? Let me pull it up real quick. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow. But then I'll tell you what I think is going on. One sec, you guys. My computer's being a little slow with the files. Okay. All right, I got it. It's zooming up. So, Number one, I'll do the blind item, but let me go through this part real quick. When it comes to the Brandi Glanville allegations against Andy Cohen, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I think Brandi needs to just go get some help. She needs to go to rehab. She needs to go to therapy. She needs to find Jesus. She needs to do whatever she needs to do to get her life in order. And I mean that sincerely. Like, sincerely. This is a woman whose face looks like a mashup doll. She's been found knocked out on the floor, her children having to call 911 to have them come get her. She has talked about popping pills and alcohol. She's implicated in a lawsuit herself of her own, questionable sexual actions against somebody without their consent. So when I say that, I mean that sincerely. I don't mean that in like a fun, Kiki, shady way. I mean that from my heart. She needs legitimate help. I think there's something really going on with Brandi. And I think that she's getting very, very poor legal guidance and life guidance. The last thing she needs to be doing is these lawsuits and claims against Andy Cohen and NBC. She needs to sort of just like cut bait, let that go. Go find your health, your mind, your spirit, get yourself right and go live a happy life and take care of your children. Stop chasing the drug of Bravo. Because I think a lot of this is almost like a drug for these people. It's an addiction. They're addicted to Bravo. They're addicted to reality. They're addicted to the fame and the little bit of money they get with it. Because look at it. All these people are broke, scrambling. These people are addicted to some hit that they get, some high that they get from all of this nonsense. Brandi needs to cut bait. She needs to stop doing that little YouTube podcast where she's looking all types of crazy and she has people around her who truly do not care about her. Because if you cared about this woman, you wouldn't have her up here talking nonsense in circles, looking like a hot ass mess on these shows for some sponsored ad campaigns on her podcast and YouTube channel. Something's got to give. She needs some serious help. I think her whole thing against Andy is a bunch of nonsense and it needs to just stop. And she needs to go really focus on herself. That's where I stand on Brandi. Leah McSweeney, I think, is nothing but a liar and an opportunist. Did Andy Cohen do nose candy with housewives? I don't know. Not my business. I don't know. Who cares? It's also not Leah's business. Why is Leah bringing that up in her lawsuit? Did you do it with him? Did he force you to do it? If he didn't force you to do it, it's none of your business. None of your business. I think Leah is being an opportunist. I do agree with Andy Cohen and his lawyers. I think she's looking for a buyout. I think she's looking for a payday. I think that she is just looking for something. I think that she's just looking for a moment. I too think she's addicted to a little bit of fame and a little bit of money. Leah, you got on your own social media saying that you make more money on fans only than you ever made on Bravo. But yet in your claim, you're saying you did Real Housewives of Girls Trip because you needed money. Well, which is it? Did you need money? But I thought you were making thousands of dollars a week on fans only, more than you ever made on Bravo. This is what you said yourself. Or did you do Ultimate Girls Trip because, yeah, you wanted money, but you also are addicted to the fame? You're addicted to that Bravo, Bravo, effing Bravo. You're addicted to that hit, right? Leah, your lawsuit, in my opinion, is also a bunch of nonsense. You're an adult. You make your own decisions. You wanted to be famous. You wanted to be on a show. You wanted to be a star. And yeah, you wanted some money. Those are all decisions you made for yourself. Your lawsuit, in my opinion, again, is a bunch of nonsense. Unless you have the true experience and unless you actually know, and unless Andy Cohen coerced you to do something, leave that man alone. And I'm not defending Andy Cohen because I do think he's out of pocket. I do think he's sloppy. And I do think he is inappropriate at times. I'm not saying he's an innocent saint, but I'm saying in the context of Brandy and Leah McSweeney, both of them are full of nonsense. My heart goes out to Brandy because I think there's something really wrong with her and she needs legitimate help for her life. Like seriously. It's like some Anna Nicole Smith, something's going on there. Leah McSweeney can go kick rocks. She's nothing but a fake and a phony and opportunist, in my personal opinion. Now, is Bravo and Andy getting ready to cut bait and cut ties? Maybe, maybe not. I see you, Jacob. I'm going to bring you up in a second, sweetheart. Now, this blind item, according to Crazy Days and Night, says all of these lawsuits is why the late night host is going to be replaced by the one who was in the FaceTime joke. So let's decode this. What it's claiming is that Andy Cohen is going to be replaced by Kate Chastain. Because allegedly, Kate Chastain was the one in the FaceTime with Andy Cohen when he was saying to Brandy, oh, I want to have sex with Kate, but I want to be thinking of you while I'm doing it on the FaceTime video. Andy has since come out and said it was a joke. Brandy was in on the joke. I believe Andy. I do think it was a joke. He is openly gay. I don't think he's checking for any woman like that. Also, at the time, I don't know where they stand now, but Kate and Brandy were really close. Remember, they both were on the first season of Traitors, and they became very, very close. And I think they were supposed to actually do that People's Couch type remake that Kate does on Peacock. She now does it with Captain Lee, but I think she was supposed to do it with Brandy, but then Brandy got in trouble with the Morocco thing and all of this stuff, and so Brandy couldn't do it anymore. I believe that's what happened. I could be wrong. Check me on that. But I believe that Kate and Brandy were supposed to do some project together. But obviously Brandy got in trouble. She couldn't do it. My question is this. Well, my comments are this, rather. Number one, do I think that Andy's days at Bravo might be numbered? Yeah, I do. I mean, I do think it's not just these lawsuits. It's been a good half of a decade of decline if we're really looking at it. Well, maybe not. I would say 4 years. Actually, I'm going to call it like Kathy Hilton called Kyle and Mauricio's relationship. I would say for the last 3 to 4 years, it's been on the decline. There has been questions about Andy with Nene and Andy with other people on Bravo, all of these lawsuits. It's just Bravo has kind of been a dumpster fire for the last few years. And I think anytime where you make an executive of the show who is not the owner of the show, the face of the show, you run into problems, into conflict. You know, like there's like Oprah, right? She's the face, but she's the owner. There was Wendy Williams. She's the face, but she's the owner. But with Andy, I believe Bravo put a statement out and they're like, Andy hasn't been a like true executive at the network since 2013 or something like that. So I don't know. I don't know. Do I think his days may be numbered? Probably. But I think it's been a long time coming. I think this is just another, straw on the camel's back. I think it's been a long time coming. Do I think he's going to be replaced by Kate Chastain? I hope not. I don't think that number one, and Bravo, if you're listening, here's some free advice. Number one, if you do replace, I don't think Andy Cohen needs to be replaced at Bravo entirely. I don't. I think he can keep Watch What Happens Live. But that's it. Let that be his baby. He's also over on Peacock hosting some ex reality dating game show. It's like some really weird, like date my ex or my ex is next. It's some really weird, low budget, wackadoodle looking, wannabe Love is Blind, X on the Beach, weird show on Peacock. He's also hosting that. Let him have that little thing that if he wants to have that. Let him have Watch What Happens Live. But when it comes to Housewives, he does need to extract himself. He doesn't need to be hosting not Nan, another reunion, not Nan, another one. Whatever one we're going to get Beverly Hills, that needs to be his last. He doesn't need to host not Nan, other reunion. He needs to really just be taken out of the Real Housewives universe. He also needs to get a new booker for Watch What Happens Live. Yes, he can book the Housewives, but he needs to book more than just Bravo reality people. If you look at Watch What Happens Live, it's just a machine for Bravo. That's it. I think if he wants to keep Watch What Happens Live, he needs to branch out and get other guests on the show. So it's not just go on Watch What Happens Live because you're a Bravo star, kiss Andy's butt while he's wasted and high, allegedly, and it's all awkward and he has no idea what the hell's going on. That's what I think they should do. I don't think they need to cut ties 100% with him, but he needs to cut bait. Well, they need to cut bait from being so enmeshed with the Housewives. Because whether or not, because I don't think he even has hire and firing power anymore, but that's the perceived power he has. I think your average person thinks that Andy Cohen owns Bravo, that Andy Cohen hires and fires and picks housewives. That's not true. He's more of a figurehead than anything right now in reality, but that's not the perception. He has a perceived power. And I think they need to break that down because, to be honest with you, perception is reality. If I have a perceived power, that's just as good as having actual power. And I think they need to separate that. However, Kate Chastain ain't it. Oh, no, she's not it. I'm sorry. She was on Below Deck. She had a cute moment on Traders. I don't know how that makes you equipped for what we need the Bravo Housewives reunion housewives liaison to be. That ain't it. I think they need to hire outside of the Bravo verse. What I mean by that is no ex Bravo stars should replace Andy. No, because then you're going to have the same exact problem. You're going to have built-in biases, built-in favoritism, built-in issues and claims. Well, I used to party and we used to do that and we're on the same shows and we're on the da-da-da-da and I knew this person when. They need to find someone who is well-versed in Bravo. Like, what's his name would actually be really great. Oh my God, what is his name? He's tall, he's white, he's really cute. He's married to Rebecca Romaine. He loves Wendy Williams. He was with Wendy Williams all the time. What is his name? I can't think of his name. Let me Google it real quick. Rebecca Romaine husband. Jerry O'Connell. Somebody like, if not Jerry O'Connell, somebody like a Jerry O'Connell would be great because I know he had the whole failed show about men who love Bravo, sure, whatever. But I think that we need someone who is well-versed in the Bravo sphere but isn't of Bravo. Doesn't have a show, wasn't on a show, isn't anything like that. Jerry O'Connell may not be it because I do think he may be too invested where he has his favorites and all of that stuff. But I do think Jerry O'Connell type, man or woman, who is versed in the Bravo world, but is not of the Bravo world. That's what we need. Because we need someone who doesn't have favorites, doesn't have built-in biases, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of where I land on that. But I don't think that Kate Chastain is it. I don't think she can carry what the replacement of Andy needs to carry. I don't think she's it. I think she was fine on Traitors. I don't watch Below Deck. I don't think she's it for a replacement. So I hope this blind item is false and it is what it is. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share and put it down below. So with that, hey Jacob, you want to share?
Hey Candy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I don't know if Andy's out. I can imagine